a fellow entrepreneur, and I think it's so important for us to start our own businesses. So I'm really looking forward to having that conversation with her.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we just bring her in? Let us welcome those of you, Kamisha. Kamisha, if you'll unmute yourself, we are so delighted to have you. And Mutaqee, I tell you, what do you say to a young African-American female who is aspiring, dreaming, and now dreams are coming true?
I say welcome to the club. I mean, it's going to be some hard nights, but it's going to be some great days. So just stay at it, and congratulations, first of all, on opening up your business.
Thank you.
So tell the community what the business that you're starting, and then give us an idea of why you decided to become an entrepreneur.
Okay, the business that I'm starting is a luxury hair salon located in Midtown. I'm just super excited, to be honest, because it's like a double celebration. Because it's my birthday as well, and I just wanted to always venture out to like do my own thing and inspire entrepreneurs like myself. So I just decided to branch off and do something bigger, to be honest.
What type of services will you all be providing?
We'll have space for hairstylists, barbers, makeup artists, nail techs, and of course, my cousin, we call each other sister cousins, Talithia Edwards. She will have her Yoni Steam located in the back space.
Wow. Wow. Hey, and I tell you, and that's going to be happening on Friday.
Yes, Friday from 4 p.m. to 7. So everyone is welcome to come out. I mean, it's an event that you probably wouldn't want to miss because we're going to have giveaways. It's just going to be a good time.
And so
what's the address here?
Go ahead.
It's 1784 Thomasville Road.
Okay.
1784 Thomasville Road. Well, yes. let's dive in. I mean, it's a very special month. It's Black History Month.
Exactly.
It's your birthday. It's a new venture, and I know you're catering to males and females.
Yes.
So how did this come about? Tell us a little bit about how did all of this come about? Because I did a little research and I found out that you are a perseverer. I mean, both parents died when you were really young.
Yes. My mom died actually when I was 2.5 years old in a car accident. I always been like pillar the post, and I just wanted to, keep her legacy going. The business is actually named after her initials, which is LTH. It stands for Latanya Tawana Hudson. And, it's just, I always wanted to, follow my dreams and, just make my mom, contribute to my mom and make her proud in every way.
Wow. I mean, having to experience the loss of parents at such an early age. What was the motivating factor that kept you believing? I mean, I heard you say, I wanted to do it for my mom, but I'm sure there were challenges, there were obstacles. What would you say to that business person who's thinking about it and who's finding themselves facing challenges after challenges?
You could do whatever you put your mind to. I mean, the goal is to keep going and never stop, never look back, just continue to go forward with whatever it is you desire that you want to do. You have every obstacle to do it. I mean, even though the road may be hard, you just knock over the bricks and keep going.
Wow.
You just keep striving.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Go ahead, Mutaqee.
No, I was about to say, I'm excited for you. I remember when I started my own firm, and it's a lot of butterflies for because you don't know what to expect. But it's also a great deal of excitement because I mean the faith that you have, I'm sure that it's going to be successful.
Yes.
And the one thing about the Tallahassee community is that we are very supportive. And I think there's a good movement right now being supportive of Black businesses. And so as long as which I know you will have, provide a great service,
Yes.
you can't help but have a great business at the same time. So
Okay.
I understand what you're going through right now, but believe me, it gets better.
Okay. Thank you.
So some of the services that you're going to be providing inside of the location.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about some of the services that you're going to be providing. What can we expect on Friday? I know you said it's going to be lots of giveaways.
Yes. The services, we're just looking for um a couple of people, to rent out some booths that we have available. We haven't got everything started as of yet, but we're gonna get there, like with different people coming in and working into the salon. So that's the purpose of this event, to see if we could get faces, young entrepreneurs as well, to come in and be a part of our team.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Wonderful. So this is happening Friday. What time? Give us time again, location again.
Okay, it's happening Friday, February the 26th, at 1784 Thomasville Road, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
And once again, what's the name of the
The
business?
name of the business is Lavish Hairology Imports Inc. And it's happening at 1784 Thomasville Road.
So are you going to, females can come by, pick up hair?
Yes.
What's all inside?
Hair will be located at the location. Like I said, Talithia Yoni's thing will be inside. It's barber chairs inside. It's just a luxury salon. So everything is inside that everybody will need, basically.
Okay, well, that's happening on Friday from 4 to 7. I'm going to try to make plans to stop by and give our support. I understand it's going to be a big ribbon cutting celebration as well.
Yes.
Okay. Well, is it anything else that you want to say to those who are tuned into the broadcast? Is there anything you want to say to them?
They could just come out and show some support.
All right. All right. Okay, well, listen, thank you so much. And attorney, is it anything you want to say to Kamisha as they get ready to launch? So she says Talithia has a section in there. So we're going to see what Talithia is doing in the business area.
She has it's the flower pot in the business in the back. Her brand is the flower pot.
Okay.
So, yes.
All right. Well, congratulations again, and I'll swing by as well on Friday to support. Congratulations.
Okay.
Again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And Tallahassee, listen, you want to join us on Friday. That's on Thomasville Road. You're going to hear more information about it. It's happening. The opening of a new business, new entrepreneur, African-American female. And man, females are just taking that leap of faith. Understand a new female restaurant just opened here on Thorpe Street.
Oh yeah. The Gillum Sisters soul food restaurant. I've been trying to go, but it's been so packed. So I'm gonna have to figure out to get some good hours, but that's a good sign that it's a lot of people there.
Man, listen, I went one day and I promise you, I stood in line. I didn't even get to the door. I stood outside in line for about a good 30 minutes. Wow. And I'm not as young as I used to be. So therefore standing was kind of, and by the time I got to the door, it was about another 30 minutes. I said, you know what, I'm gonna have to come back. But I understand, man, that the food is good. The customer service is great. So I'm going to do an Uber deliverer, Uber Eats. I'm going to have to figure out how to get it brought to me. But I understand they're doing a great job and the food is really good. And that's located on Thorpe Street. And can you imagine what we have happening in the midst of a pandemic?
And that's what's so excited about it. We have this event later on today that we'll talk more about, but it's focusing on Black businesses. And I think something that we really have to do is just take that leap of faith. A lot of times we're looking for jobs and we're looking for people to give us an opportunity when the opportunity is right there in front of us. So, but we also need the support. And it's okay to criticize, but let the criticism be constructive. And so that way, like, everybody's not going to be perfect all the time, but be able to give constructive criticism so they can improve where they can, but not to cancel or destroy or be harmful to a business, especially when it's our own businesses.
And you know what, attorney, I think that is so powerful what you said, because we find ourselves constantly being guilty of not only criticizing, but then destroying with our words. And I ministered on last evening about words and how powerful they are. And I think that if we can't tell management what issues we're having, I don't think we should take the message out to the masses. I think management should be able to hear the concerns. And I think then we should be able to make sure that we continue to give our support after we voiced our concerns with management. So man, that is so important. And I know that you're going to have a lot of challenges. I don't want to say challenges, but I know leading the organization, there's a lot of work that you want to do, but I'm sure because of a national level and because of how things are organized, you got to stay within the parameters of what has to be said and done.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna find out ways to like I said, be proactive and get things done.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we have waiting to join us from the G and Lee firm, up and coming young man. I mean, this young man,
he's here.
He's already here. Okay, well, wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who are listening to us, the 15,000 that are tuned in through the airways, those of you who are joining us on Facebook, listen, welcome, Attorney Charles G.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Attorney Akbar, great to see you again, my brother.
Same here, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing on this beautiful Wake Up Wednesday?
Absolutely. Wednesday, man. And we gonna wake up. Black history, what does it mean? What does it say?
Such a broad it's hard to attack that from a broad perspective. For different people it means different things. For me it means honoring who we are, also honoring us from a past perspective, and this year I'm trying to honor us from a present day perspective as well, so that we can inspire our youth and and give them some sense of identity. So Black history for me is identity.
Wow. Attorney, what you say about that identity? I mean,
I like that. I think that's the perfect answer, because that's like, identity is like exactly who we are. And it encompasses all those areas that Attorney G was saying. It encompasses the past, it encompasses the present, and it kind of puts us on the path for the future as far as like who we are being our identity. And I really appreciate what Attorney G has been doing this year by recognizing those people that are right in the community, especially the Gadsden County community, because so oftentimes, and especially in school and things, Black history is just 1800s and up until like 1900s, and then it kind of stopped, and it's not tangible. When you're focusing so much on the past, it then becomes like icons and these intangible heroes, and not people that we can actually touch and feel and influence us right now and set what our identity is. So I think that's a perfect response.
And you know what, Attorney, Attorney Akbar, I think what Attorney G has done, and I think all of us have been aware of it, but for him, and we're going to get into this more, Attorney G, but since you said identity, I think for him to take the time to identify 28 local African Americans from the Gadsden County area, post them, write about them. I mean, it really says something to all of us, and it says that daily we should appreciate those who are making a difference in our communities. And as you said, not dwell so much. Certainly we thank God for those who made the difference in the 1800s. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are. But because of them, we're able to celebrate those that are taking us further and higher. So,
Right.
so man, I tell you, Attorney Akbar and I were talking about you doing what you were doing, and we just felt like before we ended the month of February, we wanted to bring you on to just dive into that, because in so many areas, Leon, Gadsden, Jefferson, there are some outstanding African Americans who are doing some great things. And so with that being said, let's dive into it, because to identify 28 people, Attorney Akbar, what you say, man?
So Attorney G, I wanted to ask you, when you started doing the research, kind of peeling through, were you surprised at the number of heroes that came out of Gaston County, or and if you weren't surprised, was it difficult for you to pick the 28 or so people that you did pick in order to highlight?
That's a great question, Attorney Akbar. One, I want to say, no, I wasn't surprised. I'm not trying to sound arrogant about Gaston County, but I think very highly of Gaston County. I absolutely love the place as a native. Anybody that I've met from across the country, I've always cited Gaston County as a key component to why I am and who I am today. Secondly, hard to find the 28 people. No, not at all. Actually, I'm more so concerned about some people that might not get honored as we end the last few days of Black History Month. And I understand, Black History is 365. But just for the sake of this campaign, I have more than enough names and enough men and women to showcase. So for me, it's all about bringing those positive influences to the forefront from a community that's people from the outside can sometimes highlight the negative at scale. And we have, as you can see, we're on the 24th day, we have way more positive than we have negative coming out of Gaston County. But if I don't control the narrative, and if the next person don't control the narrative, and the rest of our citizens don't control the narrative, then the narrative that I'm sharing now won't be told.
Wow. You said something, and I see a comment here from MindPro that says history is made in the now. And that says it, because at the end of the day, if we don't start defining history now, and I think Attorney G, what you have done is started defining what history is now, because the people that you have identified are people who still visit Gadsden, even though they're living in other places, making great contributions. They are people that their fathers and mothers can say, I went to school with him, or I went to school with her. And they're people that you can sit down and have dialogue with. Attorney Akbar, let's look at this, and Attorney G, I want you to chime in. Let's look at, in the area, Gadsden County, predominantly Black. And you said something. If we don't control the narrative, then the narrative really is not a necessity to helping us to identify who we are. So here it is, a predominantly Black county, leadership Black. You have identified 28, but I'm sure, as you said, it wasn't hard to do. And when I say this, I mean, I may get a little slight, but this is what we do on Wake Up Wednesday. We really wake people up. When we look at it, do we see a county that has moved forward, or is it the same as it was 20 years ago in this Black history moment now?
we definitely have our share of challenges. I would say that. To put it into context, um, the lack of progression in some areas, is frustrating, infuriating in some regards. But I've chosen to look at it in a way where I don't want to be a part of the problem. And if I can, what I'm saying is, sometimes a part of the problem can just be talking. We're just talking, and we're not offering a solution. So I try to keep my chatter along the lines of solution-based alternatives to what I see now. Um, sure, we're not in a position where I would want to see us in currently. And to be more specific, maybe job opportunities and opportunities for people in Gaston County. Like you pointed out, Gaston County is the only of 67 counties in Florida that's predominantly black. Residents are black. And when I take 5 steps over from Chattahoochee and I step into Mariana, I see new warehouses for Family Dollar, Dollar General, that provided a plethora of jobs. I see in the news a new Amazon facility is coming to town. Those type of things frustrate me, and I don't know where to point the finger at. But I feel like my fellow citizens are being passed up, and that as other places are progressing, in some regards, we're being left behind. So instead of taking that conversation and just going back and forth about pointing the finger, I'm trying to focus on how do I be a part of that
solution.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, I think the start in it, like you said, is like highlighting the people that's doing the work. And a lot of the people, I've been paying attention to it every day. I mean, a lot of the people I didn't know, haven't heard of, didn't know was from Gaston County. So again, that gives other people in the community, like some other people, to kind of say, hey, like I saw you in this highlight, how can you help us bring some jobs in? Or I got this idea for a job, or I got this idea for a business, and start using those resources that's right there in the community to bring it in. And one thing I got to say about Gaston County is that, like you said, like the blackness of it, is very powerful. And I think, the fact that it has so much potential to become even better, to become greater. And that's why I always admire you and your partner, Darrell Lee, because you all, you could easily be in Orlando, Maitland, wherever, and just forget about Gaston County. But you all see the potential, the potential, and you want to help it get to the process. I mean, get back to the place, or get to the place where it belongs, pretty much. And it should be great, and it will be great, because it's one of the only, majority black counties in this state.
And with that being said, I asked that because I know that there was a statue that was there at the courthouse square, and no doubt many saw, but nobody made or took a step for the removal. It was a time, Attorney Akbar, when throughout the country, throughout the nation, statues were being brought down. And Attorney G, you took on the challenge. I mean, I'm sure you faced a lot of resistance, but why was it so important? I mean, we're in Black history. You're celebrating heroes, icons from the county. This is a big move that you made. Why was it so important?
Well, first I want to give credit where credit's due. I practiced, and back up for a second, I practiced primarily civil law. And a lot of times, a lot of lawsuits and things of that nature, they get settled out of court. A fellow colleague, friend of mine, Attorney Akbar, who was on this chat right now.
Attorney Mutaqee Akbar.
Mutaqee Akbar.
Okay. The president of the NAACP.
That's
the guy who fight, march, and let his voice be heard in the courtroom and out the courtroom for justice.
Yes, and what I was getting at is a lot of my work doesn't necessarily go into the courtroom when a settlement happens. Attorney Akbar was over there on the front lines in my county, representing people that were facing criminal charges.
Right.
Day in and day out, he's walking his clients back and forth across this monument that honored Confederate soldiers. And so he had a meeting with myself and my law partner and talked about how infuriated he was walking back and forth around it. And as it became an afterthought, I heard chatter about people were talking about removing it, but it wasn't happening fast enough. And it wasn't happening fast enough for our guests like Attorney Akbar. And it started, it was already offensive, and then it just became something that's, the offensiveness started compounding on my mind. Wow. That I got guests coming into my home, I gotta walk past this and be offended with it as well. And so we led a charge, and it wasn't me. I was just a spokesperson for the charge because I couldn't have done this alone. The citizens spoke up, they rallied behind it. And but then like a week or so, we saw the power of us coming together. And that's the purpose of this Black History Highlight. It's not about me. It's not even about the people that you're reading about. It's really about a community coming together. Right now we got, from my perspective, a little too much division. And it's okay. Sometimes we have to be on opposite ends of a viewpoint to kind of extract the truth or extract the best method. But right now, we're so divisive, whereas in taking down a monument or moving forward or making a call to action about the next warehouse or the next Amazon facility, we're not united enough to see the power of our collective voice. So that's what that's all about. It's not about me. It's not about the people. Not even about the monument per se. It's about unity in this all predominantly, well, not all, but predominantly Black populated community.
Wow. So Attorney G, like, so what's next? You know, we got the statue down. You're doing the highlights this month. It's February. How do we build on this momentum to not only make Gaston County better, but like just the Big Bend area better also?
It is in my hopes that the Black History Highlights have two effects. One, I will hope that it inspires people that are seeing the highlights, that they see somebody within some realm of what they inspire to be, to reach out. I chose to highlight more current, that were living, that were reachable, so that citizens can reach out. Two, for the people that are being highlighted, that maybe if they haven't been home in a while, or they can't find their right approach to stepping back in, that this could serve as somewhat of a welcoming mat to those that are got, not, I want to say away from Gaston, because Gaston is always here if you come from it, but to just let them know that we know them, we know of them, we honor the work that they're doing, and they're welcome back anytime. And so, again, on that theme of unity, that's really what I'm hoping to see beyond this, is that, hey, I saw what you've done. How can we come together and do something else? How can I mentor this person or mentor that person? Somebody might reach out to me from the community. Alternative, do you got any contact before I can get in contact with Precious Anderson, who went to Harvard Law School, or President James and State University. And so hopefully we can just start to bridge those relationships between the Orange community and to the native that I went on to done these great and grand things.
Awesome.
Well, let me ask you something. When you began to do your journalism investigation on the icons that you were highlighting, what has been the response from many of them after seeing and being told that, they were highlighted? Because I'm sure you didn't give them heads up.
Nobody got a heads up. Nobody. And truth be told, some days I knew I was highlighting to maybe 30 minutes to an hour before I posted it. So nobody got a heads up. The first person I highlighted was my law partner, Adair Ali. And he didn't know he was being highlighted. I didn't want this to be politically driven. I didn't want this to be. It felt euphoric. It felt something that was in my heart to do, and I wanted to keep that feeling throughout this whole process. And I have been wowed and amazed by some of the things I have uncovered by doing this as well. So I would hope that the community has felt the same sense of pride, amazement, and just a sense of just pride to be from Gaston County, because I wasn't getting that sense of pride recently.
Wow. I mean, Attorney Akbar, I mean, it's amazing that, you're always thinking about next steps. And when there's momentum, you're always trying to say, how do we keep the momentum going?
Right.
I mean, we, as you and I always say, we're tired of feel good moments. We want moments to last forever.
Right.
And so, believe it or not, Attorney G, when we talked about what you were doing, we thought that, just myself and Attorney Akbar thought that, just imagine what it would be like if 28 people that you've highlighted united as one to say, how do we create a bank, a credit union? How do we create a foundation? How do we, I mean, so many things went to turning in our mind. And because, and then, Akbar said, well, there is that mentality that we have to break. And it brought me back to some thoughts that, I shared with guys when I was in prison. When the positive group comes together, you made it clear that you're well aware of the negative impacts that are there. You don't worry about that. But the narrative must be written to drive out the negativity, so that not only Gadsden County, but every county where Blacks are empowered can rise.
Right.
Reverend James, I realized that I didn't answer your question adequately. You asked me how did the honorees feel when they saw themselves. And man, I have been blown away, because these people, a lot of these honorees have had some grand awards. They have heard their names called on some of the biggest stages and some of the biggest media publications in the world. But this small honor, man, I felt like some of them had this as high as one of the biggest achievements they have ever received. And it made me well, because I said, okay, I bridged the gap. Because it felt like some of them was like waiting for the call to say, hey, where can I do, where can I contribute to help out? And they just didn't know. And so I felt like a lot of them felt like that bridge was being extended.
Wow.
Now, I can come back home. I can get involved. They can always come back home. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they can come back home and operate in the capacity that they had in their mind, that maybe they just need a little boost, just a little something to help them, come back home and get involved. And I think that has been the key response that I have gotten from a lot of the honorees.
I mean, and Attorney Akbar, you can kind of chime in on this when it comes to being honored in your own home.
Right.
Very seldom is that done. I mean, I have to go to the Bible because the Bible says that prophets are not even honored in their own home. It's other people that celebrate them.
Right. And oftentimes when we leave our home, we kind of think that we're out of sight, out of mind as well. And so I think that's probably a big part of it as well, for people to, kind of be paying attention to what they're doing, even if they're outside of Gaston County, and still recognizing what they're doing. So, I mean, I think that's important. Like you said, it bridges that gap. It brings them back home. It brings them back to their foundation. And as we all know, our foundation is the most important part of like who we become. Like without a solid foundation, everything else really doesn't matter. And so you're reminding them that they have a solid foundation, they have a place to come home, and that's very, very important. So I think that's a big deal.
Wow. And we're going to dive into something a little before we get off, and that's going to be what's happening tonight, Attorney Akbar. But I kind of did a post this weekend about the Willie Lynch theory. And I got a lot of kickback and angered a lot of folk. And I say that because not just in Gadsden, but I think across this nation, when was it Maynard Jackson, the mayor of Atlanta, when he was getting ready to build the airport, he made it clear that we're going to make sure that African Americans have a part in what takes place in the building of this airport. And there were so many African Americans who became wealthy, created opportunities for so many others. Very seldom do we see that in leadership. And I said, just reflecting back on my years of not Harvard, not Yale, not Morehouse, but the Penthouse, the Brigg House, the Penitentiary House, reflecting back on those days and some of the conversations that we had to come to grips with the fact that we operated in a mindset of enslaving our people in our communities by the selling of drugs, by the activities that we were doing. We participated in a theory of Willie Lynch. We participated in constantly enslaving our people. And I said that this weekend, just looking and observing, when we, oh God, Akbar, you got to say, you got to really be my attorney right now. To just because we talk about this constantly, and we're big on Black supporting Blacks. Tonight, you are participating as a keynote speaker in empowering Blacks, but we find it hard. And that theory, Willie Lynch.
Well, Greg, I listened to your live, and I wanted to call you or page you or shoot you a text message and say, let's talk about this privately. And when I say privately, not you and I, but privately, I think some conversations should be amongst us, and not saying I don't agree with what you were saying or I don't understand your frustration, because I think all of us have been there. But I also don't like to give other people the opportunity to criticize us or to be able to point to one of our leaders. And I see you as a leader to say, look, he's saying y'all don't get along. He's saying that y'all don't support each other. He's saying that y'all don't got it all together. So so that's the only, quote unquote criticism I would say, or backlash I would say. And that might be what the energy that was coming from other people was just like, hey, let's have this conversation, at home and not necessarily out front for everybody to hear it, because it perpetuates some of the same stereotypes that people have, about our community. So, but that aside, I also think it's okay for us to be critical of each other. I also think it's okay for us to call each other out when it's necessary to call each other out. But I don't think it's okay for us to do it without a solution, And so oftentimes we see people get on social media. I mean, because that's the platform for everybody right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And dog people out, criticize them, talk about their businesses, talk about their mamas, talk about everything, but don't provide any kind of solution as to how that person can improve, how the community can improve, or what can be done differently. And when it comes down to election season, everybody's quiet, and it's a few of us that's kind of like out front trying to get people out of office that's not for our community, or that's not supporting our community. So when we have these discussions, I think it always have to be solution oriented, and not just drag it down, complaining, and those things. And to go back to the highlights, that's solution oriented. Like, what can I do to bring positive attention to Gaston County? I'm gonna highlight positive people in Gaston County. And so when it comes down to like the decisions that the government makes, or county commissions, cities commissions, or whatever, like, let's have a real conversation in our community about what we need to do to change those people or their policies, in order to improve our community. And that goes for Gaston, Leon, Jefferson, anywhere else, when it comes down to that.
And you are so right in what you're saying, because I feel and believe that here we're in Black History Month, and a lot of times we as leaders have to be able. I mean, I preached a sermon not too long ago called "Blow the Whistle," and I had on a referee outfit, and I think that we're in a place now where we cannot sit idly by and conversate in the house, and not conversate in the highways and in the hills, because the noise that we make in the house is being confined.
Right.
But the song said, "Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings." I think it's time that we really have to make noise in the highways and in the hills, so that we can shake and rattle, even if the opposite race or opposite groups begin to hear us and begin to say, well, they said this. We gotta be able to figure out, how do we rattle voices and people to unite to make things better. And Black History Month has to be the time that we move, not just in February. We got to move it in March. We got to move it in April. We got to move it on and on and on, because at the end of the day, when February 28th come, our history is gone. Nobody else says anything. Attorney G, I see you had lifted your finger.
I guess let's speak more specific on this, on this, because I got your live on social media as well this weekend. And if we're being specific, and if we waking up people on Wednesday, you were in my native Gaston County when you went live, and I have a lot of different thoughts and feelings about some of the things I've seen occurring, not just on Saturday, but over the past few weeks, and actually a couple of months now. And being objective here, I can say this, and Attorney Akbar, correct me here, because as I said in the beginning of this broadcast, I'm a civil lawyer, and for some reason, people hear the word lawyer, they think you know something about law, every piece of spectrum of law. So I could be wrong on what I'm trying to cite here. But when it comes down to government and how governments operate and how they contract, how they do business, well, I think we have a thing in Florida called the Sunshine Law. Sunshine Law allows citizens to go in and see meeting minutes and see contracts and things that taxpayers have been paying for. And from that perspective, the citizens of Gaston have a right to analyze and look over and scrutinize any document or any contract that they very well see fit needs to be analyzed. Now, keeping along the theme of our conversation about unity and identity, I think there's a fine line between analyzing and destructing. And somewhere we're in that gray area of analyzing and destructing now. And I'm not for the destruction of anybody in our community right now. As a business owner, outside of just being a lawyer, but as a business owner, it's hard enough. It is hard enough. It's one thing to say, this is not a good contract. It's another thing to say, that person doesn't deserve to be in business. That's those are two totally different things. And I understand the frustration. Again, citizens have a right to analyze anything that go on, but then they're government. But I also think we can go below that threshold as well and start tearing down some of the very entities that we're marching to build. And so hopefully we can find some common solution to issues in our county as a current. But I don't feel good seeing it.
Well, I certainly would want to say to you, man, we applaud you for your labor of love during this month by celebrating those icons. And we celebrate you for listening to Attorney Akbar when he told you going to criminal court, seeing that statue just made him fight harder. And we applaud. So we celebrate you, man. We thank you for, make you and G and Lee for making an office to reside here. I'm sure, you all, as Attorney Akbar said, could have gone and never came back. I mean, I ask him all the time, man, why did you put your business in the heart of Frenchtown? He said, man, I want to be among the people. And that's what we need. So we applaud you, not only for doing the work of identifying. Your actions say that my heart is here and I want to see it better. Not that my name gets to be put in lights, but at the end of my road, I want to hear, well done, good, faithful servant. So, man, we celebrate you. And I know your picture, your bio is nowhere in the month of February. But on this day, Attorney Akbar and I would want to say to you, you are our African-American icon for Wake Up Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
And Akbar's inspiration. He's up lines. Rev, I don't think the time I've even saw you weren't on the front line, so it means a lot coming from you guys. Yeah, we don't always have to agree, but I don't never think it's the proper place to tear each other down. Rev, you and I have always agreed. Attorney Akbar and I may not have always agreed, but I would love to see us continue to work amongst the differences we may have and continuing going toward a place of progression and not regression.
Amen.
Appreciate you, Charles, man. I just reiterate everything that Pastor James said, and I think this is a good segue into what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the We Buy Black Working Class Wednesday event that's going to be tonight at the Edison 470 Swanee Street. And if people who don't know about Working Class Wednesday, it's actually a series that started, I think, 2 years ago by Terrence Barber. And the purpose of it is to promote Black businesses, all sorts. I mean, we have kids with cookies all the way up, to attorneys, to realtors, all kind of people are out there. It's a great networking opportunity. Tonight, myself, along with Keith Bowers, will be giving some brief words. Keith Bowers, for those who don't know, is over the Small Business Development Center over at FAMU. very, very knowledgeable about businesses, very, very knowledgeable about opportunities. So, I think this is an event you don't want to miss. It's the second since the pandemic, but I think the first since people are a little bit more comfortable, but we'll be socially distanced. We'll, wear your mask. We want to try to get back to normal, but of course we want to be safe and not have a super spreader event. But I think this is the one to come to. And when I say this is a good segue, G and I have been practicing, what we all talk about, cooperative economics, a lot. And the idea of it is that, one, and I'm going to speak a little bit on this when I speak tonight. Malcolm X in the Ballad of the Bullet, he talked about, and this was in 1964, he talked about how Black people need to build their own economy. And it's not like, separatism, is not racism, but it's, we want better schools. We want better property. We want, more opportunities for our kids. And the way to do that in other communities, every single other community gets it, is by building our own economy. And so we understand that by building our own economy, that doesn't mean that we compete against each other. That doesn't mean that we tear each other down. Like we have two firms that do exactly, well, not exactly, but a lot of the same things that I don't care if the client go to G's office or they come to my office, because I know that, it's building the Black economy in order to build our community. So we throw a party together every year for homecoming. And people think that's strange. Like, well, ain't y'all competitors? No, we're brothers trying to build our community. Wow. And that's a part of it. And that's what this discussion is going to be about tonight. I'm excited to be a part of it. I was the first speaker at Working Class Wednesday, so I don't know if it's because I don't charge an honorarium or he just appreciates what I say. But I am excited to be a part of it, and I hope everybody can come out to the Edison. It starts at 6:00, and it usually goes, to everybody leaves, but try to get there around 6:00.
Wow. Hey, listen, I tell you, Attorney Mutaqee, you said something. You're going to be talking about We Buy Black. Mm-hmm. And when you said that, I automatically, I'm just because during my time of incarceration, I spent well over 4 months in a cell one time. So therefore, to keep my mind from going crazy, I started thinking with my left side of the brain. So when you said We Buy Black, I automatically begin to say, what if we launched a campaign for the month of March? We are marching our money into Black businesses. And every day we identified a Black business that we wanted to see 100 people march into and spend at least some dollars.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, well, let's see what you birthed, Charles G.
Terrence Barber, he's been a real strong, visible advocate for Black businesses. And that's, if he only had 3 words to say, he's probably gonna say Black owned business, because that's what's on the tip of his tongue at all times. So salute to him. And Attorney Akbar, I know we're running out of time, but salute to you. You had that event in place before my firm even came along, and you said, hey, it's a good platform, it's a good spotlight, and you offered an opportunity for us to continue to work together in that. And thanks for being the change that I wanted to see coming out of law school in a Black attorney, because I didn't see a lot of hands being reached out to me and extended. And you want a few hands to say, hey, come over here, I can show you X, Y, and Z. So I want to just thank you publicly for that. And I know I didn't say it privately, but I want to give you your flowers publicly for just, being who you are, on and off the air, in the office and out of the office. And so salute to you, and thank you for having me on.
Wow. Appreciate it. Hey, man, that's what it's all about. Hey, listen, don't forget now it's happening tonight at the Edison. That's Working Class Wednesday. I told Terrence Barber he's the bishop of business, because ministry is about meeting the needs of people, and that's what he's doing. So once again, Attorney Charles G., thank you so much for joining us today. Attorney Akbar, man, we look forward to seeing you tonight, hearing what you got to say. And to all of you who joined us, don't forget, it's time for us to to wake up.
Yes, sir.